It's just that I knew that is what I required before I could apply to the jobs. Because you cannot apply before you do the steps.
Get these...
yes.
Because sometimes you start applying and then, okay, so you are getting the required, the necessary things that are required for the application.
Yeah.
Now for the exam, where do you do the exam? Because I think for some exams, maybe for nurses, people go in India, South Africa. What about this exam?
All right, so this exam, once you go online on the site where prakis.org is normally the site where you register online, you pay online. Everything is normally paid online to that site. And then in the exam center, you get to pick the one you need to go to. And there is only one in Kenya, which is Computer Pride in Nairobi. That one is right in the CBD.
Okay.
Yeah, so once you register online, when you go to the location you want to take the exam, it will always point you to Computer Pride.
Okay.
So that is where I took the exam. And fast forward, so
Before we go, how much is the exam?
All right, so the exam varies because at the time I was doing it, I remember it was around $230 to $400 to $350. I'm speaking in terms of dollars because
that is standard.
That is the standard rate that they use.
Okay.
But the one thing I could advise anyone who wants to do it is you can take an exam at a time instead of combining two of them. So you can register for one exam, you pay, and then you take it. And then once you finish, you register for the other exam so that you have some time in between to raise the funds and also to read. Because one of the reasons why I missed the point is because I was told that this exam you need to take, and I said, okay, I can register and take it next week.
All right.
So I took it in 3 weeks, and I forgot that I was also still actively teaching, and it was not easy to balance the schedule and get to really prepare.
Okay, so now let's go back to where we had stopped, where you had failed that 1 point.
So I failed 1 point because when you apply to a state, normally when the scores are out, it shows whether you passed or failed. So I failed, and I had to go back. So this time around, I had to really read, and I was like, I don't want to disappoint anyone. Because I remember even mentioning to my family at the time that I missed 1 point. I could see that they were really disappointed.
Yeah.
Because they already excited that everything you're doing will be eventually something that will all benefit. So I had to do it again. And interestingly, that small 1 point failure taught me something, that patience is key.
Yeah.
And you have to always be patient to know that sometimes it doesn't go your way. And once I did the exam, I started applying for the jobs.
So now you have all the required...
I have all the required documents. I have my evaluation. I have the exam, and I've already passed it. So I started applying.
So that somebody will be clear with the necessary documents that we require, like if you can list them.
All right, so in terms of the documents you need to start the application, one, you will need to have your copies evaluated. That's the first one, because you need to know whether you qualify in terms of the GPA. It should be at least above a 3.0. And once you have that, the next step now is taking the exam. If you're pursuing the H1B program, which is normally given to mainly math and science teachers. So math and science teachers, because of the shortage that we have, actually I came to learn it's not only in the United States, now it's worldwide. Because Australia, Canada, and most of these countries are looking for teachers, including China, including even our neighboring countries, Tanzania, we have Rwanda.
Okay.
I know of colleagues who have gone to teach in some of those places. So those are the things you need. The other thing you will also need to have is maybe the funds.
Okay.
Because I think one of the things that has been really a big limitation to most teachers is the funds, because you need the money to pay for the evaluation. You'll also need the funds to pay for your exam. And then after you finish your exam, if you don't have the passports, like for my case, I didn't have for my kids, I had to start getting them.
Okay.
And then also maybe getting the birth certificates, because they will be required way maybe after you get the job.
Okay. So I kindly ask one favor to support me by hitting that subscribe button. It truly means the world to me. So now we are done with documents. These are the documents that you need. So now let's go to the application process. How does it work?
All right. So At the time I was doing the exams and doing the evaluations and everything, I thought that was the hard part. The hard part was applying the jobs. Because I remember I started applying. The application process has close to 36 requirements that you have to fulfill. That is from the bio all the way to the last part.
36 requirements.
Almost 36.
Okay.
Because I'm referring to the bio and all that kind of thing that you need to have in the application system. The good thing that I discovered with the schools here is more of because they're in districts. When you make one application, you apply more directly to the school district, and then they will always open your profile to the school leaders or the school principals and assistant principals for them to interview you. So I started applying in Kansas, and there was another state.
When you are talking about applications, what are you applying to?
I'm applying for jobs, teaching jobs in the United States of America. While I'm still in Kenya.
Okay.
So sometimes I could use what we call the virtual private networks, so that you can be able to have access to some of the sites because they are blocked to be used only in the United States. But I think most of them have been opened now because now they are receiving teachers from all over. So some of them are now open. So that was the first step, which is now submitting the applications. So I did fill my profile, applied, and then I did human resource interviews with one of the schools in Kansas, the district. I don't want to give the details about the school district, but then I applied, and then I got interviewed with the human resources. They pre-approved me to go to the next step, which is now being interviewed by the school principals and the school leaders. So at the time, I got to do almost close to 15 interviews, I remember. And then one of the days I was lucky that I received a job offer.
From a school?
From a school.
So when you are doing, like you're saying, you're doing applications, you are going online?
You go online.
You are just like, nobody's telling you like this, you are searching on, what are these sources like? If somebody has a gadget, I want to start applying, how do I go about it?
All right, so you go to Google and you search school districts in the specific state that you're interested in. So I was interested in Kansas because I knew someone there. So I searched in Kansas, schools that are hiring. Then I searched for the school districts. And then I got to go on YouTube as well. Okay. There are some good content creators there who have done their very good content on how to apply. So I got to check on this side on YouTube, then I apply on this side on Google. But the process is simple. It's more of like how we apply back home for schools. Then you are scheduled for an interview with the human resource first. Once you finish the human resource, they open you up to the school principals.
Okay. So when you are applying to school districts.
Yes.
And then the school districts, after they interview you, they see that you are good. Then now they open your applications to several schools in that district. Yes,
exactly. Okay. So that is why I ended up doing so many interviews. And most of the time, because of the time difference, they would happen at night. So I remember one time waking up and sitting in the kitchen at 2 a.m. trying to do an interview, and at the time one of my kids was really young at the time. So I remember being in the kitchen, and because of the lights and the talking, you wake up and start crying. What's happening? So that was the process.
So you are done with you got acceptance after 14 interviews?
Yeah, after 14 interviews. Normally the school leaders don't tell you that they are going to hire you because they're not allowed to do that. So they will always tell you, okay, thank you for making your time for us to do an interview. You will hear from our human resources, because they're supposed to only recommend you for hire. So I will advise anyone who like to apply, please be patient and do not send emails to the school principals like, did you really think I'm a good fit? Are you going to hire me? And all that thing. They don't really hire you. The human resource, which is who are normally based in the head offices, are the one who do the hiring.
Human resource of the school or the district?